I am headed to my first ever tournament this next weekend, the 10th of December in Columbus, Ohio. It's the As You Wish tournament. I'm really excited for it. I've been doing swordsmanship and fencing for a very long time, but I've never really done the tournament scene. I haven't ever had much interest in it, but I thought it would be a really good way for me to, challenge myself and learn some new stuff, especially because right now I'm in an area where there's not a lot of fencing going on, so I want to go to where the fencing is and really see, if I can push myself and accomplish some stuff. So in preparation for all of this, I managed to go and train with a couple of different fencing schools in Kansas City while I was back visiting my parents over the Thanksgiving holidays. Currently I'm fencing one of their instructors, Brian, in Rapier and Dagger. This is a really fun bout. So as of today, I just received in the mail my Castile rapier, but I did not have a tournament grade rapier when I went over to fence with them, so they let me borrow one of their loaners, which was the Economy Castile rapier. I used one of these before. The blade is very light, and after a while I kind of felt like it was a bit of an advantage, like it wouldn't have really been that light, so we switched over to a heavier rapier, which you can see on the screen now, and I kind of switched my tactic to more point work. Before, I was able to do cuts really fast, though this blade didn't really slow me down that much. It was just a minor adjustment. My new blade is a lot more like the one I'm using in this clip. I was able to fence rapier against a couple of different people. I felt pretty confident about it. Like, I wasn't winning by a mile or anything, but I felt good. Like, I was having good exchanges, and that I wasn't as rusty as I thought I might be.
Good exchange on that last one.
We switched over to some longsword, and I fenced Chris, who is a very good longsword fencer. He's won some big tournaments, and he's fairly highly ranked, which was a little bit intimidating. I definitely lost this bout, but I had a lot of fun, and I learned some stuff. It's funny, I actually broke my glove in this bit right here. You can see it come apart. It had already been tearing. It's a newer glove, so I think I'm going to be able to get warranty on it, but that was kind of frustrating. I switched out to a new glove, and we got back to it. One of the things that I was kind of fighting against was that I was using my longsword, which is the Fiore Tournament Rev A, which is a little bit shorter. I think it's 34 or 35, maybe 36-inch blade, which is totally accurate historically, but in the modern world of hema, that's kind of short. A lot of fetters are considerably longer at 40 or 42 inches, which isn't really a huge deal, but I don't know, I wanted to try a longer one, so they loaned me one, and I feel like I improved a little bit, but it wasn't night and day or anything. I'm still not sure if I want to buy a fetter, but if I'm going to be competitive in the tournament scene, I think I'm probably going to have to at some point. The fetters also balance differently than what I'm used to. It was a lot easier to move around than my longsword was, which, again, it's just different, not better, not worse, just more kind of what's going to be what I'm experiencing on the tournament scene versus what I do when I'm fencing with Matt or doing my more historically focused stuff. Chris was a really tough opponent. He had a great guard, and he had incredibly long reach. He was fast and just, difficult to fence against. So I think it was a challenge for me, and I learned some stuff, so I'm going to have to train a bit harder to be effective with longsword on the tournament scene, so that's going to be something I'm going to have to work on going forward. It was still a really fun match. He was nice, very nice. He also complimented me at the end and said I did very well, so that was nice. Again, I haven't really been on the tournament scene. I've only really been focusing on fencing with my, fencing group and my friends, so it's going to be a different ball game when I get out there. Good to know that I'm not, terrible or anything. Another thing that came up is that I'm definitely going to have to upgrade my gear. Some stuff just didn't hold up to the intensity of fencing that we were doing. I got some pretty nasty bruises. Not because anybody was being too rough or anything, just because I probably have gaps in my gear. Mostly my bruises were like I had one on my back and a couple on my shoulders, and it's because I'm wearing the AP Light jacket, which is specifically lighter. I'm probably going to have to go to a more thickly padded jacket and then incorporate a little bit more protection than I am. I've already bought some more shin protectors because the ones I was using didn't cut it. I got some nice shin bruises. Got to fence Matt again, which is always fun. Matt is just such a different fencer than I've experienced in other places. Well, we came in the same club, so we're kind of the same fencer. Very careful, We pull a lot of our hits when we're working with each other just because we, want to be nice. Not that anybody else was being mean. It's just noticeable that when we fence, it's a little lighter. I don't have to worry too much about getting whacked, which I think is why I was unprepared with my gear. It's geared more towards the kind of fencing that I do. So it's going to be a different ball game, like I said, when I get out into the tournament scene. That I want to be safe, so I'm going to be upgrading some of my gear. One thing that Matt has always been really good at is point control. He can slip a point in when I'm just not ready for it. He got a lot of points that way. He also likes to close distance on me. We got our hilts caught together. He likes to close distance on me with rapier, which you wouldn't think would be an effective tactic. He makes it work really well, and he'll get up in your face and mess with you. Both of us were pretty tired when we were fencing. We had been going for a while, I think with longsword before this, and kind of both had long days. I think I had just gotten back from the other training, so we're a little bit less energetic than usual. I'm also using my shorter rapier, which is making me change my tactics. This is my 36-inch Zen. Made things a little bit more difficult to fence against his. I also got a chance to go fence with Heartland Hema. I got to fence against a couple different people. This was a really fun saber bout I got to do. And saber was the first weapon I started with. And so it's got a special place in my heart. I hadn't gotten to fence it a whole lot recently, but it was fun to see that I hadn't lost all of my skill and I wasn't too rusty. I got some really fun exchanges in here. This was a really fun opponent to fence. It was interesting because we both had a very different saber style. And I don't know, it was just different than people I had fenced against before. But I was able to pull off a couple of movements that I've been working on. And we had some really movie level back and forth that I thought were really cool. So that was fun. So I am trying to fence quite a few different weapons. My Rapier and Dagger tournament is the one that's coming up, but I'm trying to get as much experience with as many different weapons as I can, because hopefully in the future I'll be attending tournaments with multiple weapon classes that I can fence in. I don't know if that's something that happens very often, if people usually pick one weapon to do at a tournament, or if they try and do multiples. Personally, I'd like to do more than one if I'm going, because I'm going to have to be traveling quite a ways for most of these. I've been really working on flicking some of these cuts in for sabers, so I've been working on confusing my opponent by showing multiple different lines, doing feints, and trying to be able to whip my saber from one side to the other. Not whip it like sports saber, but show cut in one line and turn to another quickly to confuse an opponent. And I was able to get in a couple of really good feint cuts in here that made me pretty proud. So I hope I get to come fence these guys again. It was a lot of fun. And with that, I guess I am off to the tournament next week. I'll be bringing lots of videos from that, so thanks for watching, and if you're in Columbus, Ohio, and you're going to that tournament, I guess I will see you there.